On Sunday, March 26, 2019, Kevin Craig was found dead in his home under mysterious circumstances. He was last seen alive by his brother on Friday, 2 days prior to being found, but between then and when he was found dead on Sunday, multiple people came into his home, each with opportunity and potential motive to want him dead.
Just come straight to my camper over there and, told me to go over, and I went in the back door and I kicked it one time like that, and I seen his shin laying there and it was like black.
In the process of investigating, I spoke with his brothers, mother, and even the suspect that the police ultimately charged with Kevin's murder to try to get to the truth of what really happened to Kevin Craig.
Now listen, they're basing all this stuff about me telling Kevin, they're basing all of that on covering up something that has to do with sex.
Just when I thought I had done everything at my disposal to get answers, one more opportunity presented itself. And this was the biggest yet. Kevin Craig was one of 3 brothers. He was a wrestler in high school, and although his life had perhaps fallen off course as he battled drug addiction, he had never been to prison, unlike a lot of the people in his orbit.
Me and him were close. Like, we were more alike, He was outdoors boy more than PlayStation and, stuff like that.
You brought his award over there. I guess he used to play baseball.
No, it was wrestling.
Oh, that was wrestling. Oh, okay.
And he went to state twice, too.
He lived on a family compound in Walhalla named Craigville. It was there at Craigville, at 32 years of age, that Kevin Craig was found dead in his trailer. Located on the Craigville property were 2 mobile homes, a camper, and an unfinished house. The mobile home that Kevin Craig's body was found in is the very same that he and his family had lived in years prior. I stood in the living room and looked at a picture of Kevin Craig in his graduation gown.
Daniel, baby mama. Graduation.
Oh, yeah.
That's probably our best one.
That's Kevin, right?
Yeah.
That's you, Squirrel?
That's you, yeah. That's me.
In the photograph, the Craig family and the room that they were in looked put together and clean. It was a stark contrast to how things looked now, and a sad thing to consider. The trailer itself having become yet another inert location in Walhalla associated with a death under mysterious circumstances.
Yeah. Where was this taken? Was this here?
Yeah,
right
right there. Yeah, see the corner.
Oh, yeah. The corner in the...
Yeah, I see the corner.
Yep, the brick right there.
Yeah, and see that was in 04.
04, wow.
Yeah, I graduated 04.
Yeah.
There you go.
That is a good picture.
On May 26, 2019, Kevin Craig was found dead in his trailer. The police report initially said the cause of death was probable terminal seizures and hyperthermia from environmental heat exposure. The high that Friday was 88 degrees, Saturday 89, and Sunday it went up to 90. It was hot, but not abnormally so, and certainly not when compared to temperatures in July or August. However, if Kevin Craig's trailer was sitting in the sun without good ventilation, the temperature inside was probably a lot hotter. It's estimated that in the summer months, a car or trailer without ventilation can reach 150 degrees. It's also worth noting that just because the coroner listed hypothermia with environmental heat exposure as the probable cause of death, it doesn't mean that that phenomenon happened in a vacuum. And the coroner's report reflects this. The other significant conditions that were noted were drug withdrawal and a heart murmur. At 8 a.m. that Friday morning, Kevin's twin brother Devin spoke to Kevin. Devin says Kevin locked himself in his room after telling Devin to leave him alone, that he was going through withdrawals. That would be the last moment anyone saw Kevin alive, or perhaps the last time anyone who didn't mean Kevin Craig harm saw him alive. Devin took me back to the room Kevin died in.
Cleaning up another. Hello, I was supposed to have Hinton.
Oh, that's fine. I ain't worried about it.
Well, I haven't got a chance to.
Oh, hey, kitty. What's up?
There's something right here. Something in there.
Oh, in this room right here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that clothes went in like that.
Yeah. It's just the bed.
Yeah, just the bed goes about 4 feet out from against that wall.
Yeah.
Man, it comes out about 2 feet right here and does the rectangle like this.
Yeah.
2 feet, right where the black box is there.
I got you.
And it does that, yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's got about 5 feet this way.
Yeah. And this door was kicked in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was reinforced.
Yeah.
And then, I appreciate you showing me
Yeah.
the room.
Yeah, that's just
What's up, kitty?
After investigating Kevin Craig's death, a few possibilities surfaced as to what happened to him. Staying healthy and clear-minded is really important when trying to piece everything together in these stories, and that's especially difficult when I'm away from home. I want to thank AG1 for sponsoring this video. AG1 is a daily foundational nutritional supplement that supports whole body health. I love AG1 because it's an incredibly simple, easy, and healthy addition to my day that not only is pretty enjoyable to drink, but it keeps me away from those sugary drinks at the gas station when I need a boost in energy. AG1 sources the best and highest quality ingredients it can find and contains 75 vitamins, minerals, and whole food sourced ingredients. We all know the holidays can be stressful, and honestly, so can traveling to investigate these cases. Thankfully, the adaptogens, vitamins, and minerals in AG1 provide support for stress and help balance the nervous system for a healthy mood. AG1 also helps with focus and mental clarity with high-quality ingredients like Rhodora, magnesium, and B vitamins. I'm going to be honest, I thought I was going to be drinking AG1 strictly for the health benefits, but when I first tried AG1, I was pleasantly surprised at how enjoyable it was to drink. I actually look forward to drinking it because I genuinely enjoy how it tastes. Head to my link in the description below to get a free 1-year supply of AG vitamin D3 plus K2 plus 5 AG1 travel packs with your first purchase of AG1. If you've been thinking about trying AG1, now is the time. Again, click my link below to get started on supporting whole body health with AG1. You also get the added benefit of supporting a company that supports me and these documentaries. Thanks AG1, back to the video. After investigating Kevin Craig's death, a few possibilities surfaced as to what happened to him. We're going to start this story 2 weeks before Kevin Craig died. I had an anonymous source tell me about an incident.
She went to jail for it, but he didn't. They were going through the Walmart parking lot and was asleep. And Kevin got pulled over, and he ran. He ran all the way from Walmart to the highway department and got under somebody's house, crawl space. So he called a friend, and they come picked him up, and he was kind of laying low to jail because she was asleep, but Kevin was driving. They went to pick up something, and Kevin took it with him and hid it, and then him and I think went back to find it and couldn't find it, but then was telling everybody that he did find it because she could tell he was high. It wasn't like a supply for the whole county or anything like that. It was just like 4 friends that, went in on it.
So Kevin and a few friends went in together to buy drugs. Him and Caitlin got pulled over and Kevin grabbed the drugs, leaving Caitlin behind with the cops. He claims he stashed the drugs, but when they went to find them, they were gone. Since then, I've been told that Amanda and the others thought Kevin didn't really lose the drugs. Instead, they thought he kept them for himself. This story might seem a little out of place as we move forward, but it will come into play later. About 2 weeks later, on a Friday morning, Kevin had that last conversation with his brother Devin, telling him that he was going to his trailer to leave him alone, that he was going through withdrawal. Later that day, around sunset, a man named Kevin Mailer, otherwise known as Boston, showed up at Craigville, along with a guy named Eric and a woman named Jessica.
Eric Collins and Boston come over. And Eric always wants to play horseshoes, like that, So I was like, sure, let's play a game, like that, And Boston started walking this way with some chick. Told Eric, I was like, hey man, Kevin's not down that way, like that, And they said, they're not going down there to see Kevin, they're going down there to have sex, or whatever like that, I was like, oh, okay, it's kind of weird, but anyways,
Whatever.
I didn't think nothing much about it and everything, and the horseshoes was right out there and everything. I had my back facing this way and stuff like that, and after about 15 minutes, I heard my mama's back door shut like that, and then him coming out like that, and I was, it's kind of quick, but then what you doing in there? I thought you was going to the woods, what I'm saying? And
Yeah, coming out of this trailer?
Yeah, my mama's back door and stuff like that, And he was like, I was like, Kevin in there? He's like, no, I didn't see him. He was like, when I asked him what he was in there doing, he said, I went in there and said, Kevin's in there. I was like, he wasn't, was he? And he was like, no. I was like, I didn't think so.
And what day was this?
This is Friday
That was
evening,
Friday.
about dark time.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, somewhere around that area. It was getting down, dusky or whatever. And,
So 2 days before Kevin is found dead, on that Friday, Boston, Eric, and Jessica show up. Eric gets Daniel to play horseshoes with him while Kevin and Jessica walk off. About 10 to 15 minutes later, Daniel hears Boston coming out of Kevin's trailer. Boston says Kevin is not in the trailer. Eric quits the unfinished game with Daniel and quickly leaves with Boston and Jessica. The next day, Boston returns. This time, he's actually on the phone with Kevin's mother, who's looking for him.
And he's like, okay, I'm here. It looks like nobody's here again because Devin was gone. And he's like, what should we do? I said, I want you to go in my house and walk through it, you know. I stayed on the phone with him, which who knows, you know, he could have not even been over there.
Yeah.
But he probably was, you know, because I know he went over there. Okay. And he walked through and he said nothing. He didn't see him. He's like, he's not here, nobody's here.
Sometime later, someone who had dropped by on that Saturday sent some messages about smelling something in the trailer.
She said she went over there and Kevin wasn't there. Come in, and she said, even then, she said she smelled something. And she said there was flies on Kevin's bedroom door. I got the text messages.
Sunday rolled around, and again, Boston and Eric pull up. Daniel didn't think much of it, and he and Eric began tossing around the horseshoes again, resuming the game that they had ended abruptly on Friday.
Saturday, like I said, I wasn't here, and then that Sunday, pulled back up right. It was about lunchtime. I hadn't been up about 20 minutes, and they both pulled back up together. And I'd never seen these two guys together before in my life, you know, but they did the same thing. It's like, Eric said, you want to finish that game and stuff like that, you know, and I was like, sure. Like I said, it still hadn't even crossed my mind because I hadn't even been over there or nothing, you know,
Yeah.
and I was like, I'm going to see if Kevin's over here like that, you know, and we started throwing the horseshoes, and I got sitting there thinking, I told my other brother, I was like, throw my dang game of shoes and everything, finish my game and everything. I was like, I'm going to see why he's still at Mama's house because I don't think Kevin's there.
Yeah.
You know, and he's just sitting, I really didn't like that. I usually try to give most people benefit of the doubt, you know, but
Yeah.
I just never liked this guy from fucking word get-go and
Yeah.
stuff. And I made him at the back door like that, you know, I was like, what are you doing in there like that, you know? He's like, I had to use the bathroom. I was like, all right, you know, like that. I was like, Kevin in there? He's like, no, I didn't see him. And he's like, Eric, and they immediately left again, you know, kind of same thing. No, I was kind of thinking a little something, but I never thought he was in there doing.
Yeah.
I didn't think my brother was in there, you know.
Boston and Eric leave shortly after, like they did the Friday before. Later that day, Amanda showed up. Remember Amanda from the group that went in together to buy drugs? Amanda, who believed that Kevin didn't lose them while on the run but kept them for himself. She's now at Craigville noticing a bad smell coming out of the trailer.
Yeah.
She come straight in my camper over there and told me to go over there, and I went in the back door and I kicked it one time like that, you know, and as soon as I kicked it, I seen I had him behind the door, so I didn't want to kick the door too hard and everything, so I didn't want to kick him.
Yeah.
But I knew in that initial kick, that first time I kicked it and everything, I seen his chin lay there and it was like black, you know, I knew something, you know, wasn't good.
The police show up and determine that Kevin had died of hyperthermia and heat exposure. Months later, a man named Kirk Minihane from Barstool Sports was in the area for a podcast that he was working on. He had been looking into the disappearance of a woman in Massachusetts, and this led him to Walhalla, where he went around asking questions about this same circle of people. Kirk spoke to someone who claimed to have info about Kevin's death. This person had an interesting conversation with Kevin Craig a few weeks before he died.
Kevin and we had been hanging out for a couple weeks. This one day in particular, he was just ready to go home, and as I was taking him home, he just broke down in the middle of, you know, us having a normal conversation, and he was bawling. He was crying so hard, it was like gut-wrenching cries. He was grabbing his stomach, you know, like he was about to throw up, crying that hard, and he said, I had to help him. I had to help him get rid of her body. And the only thing I could think of to say at the time was who? Whose body? And he said, Faith. I just said, oh my God, Kevin, how did she die? And he said, it was an overdose. It was an overdose. They didn't mean to. I promise they didn't mean to. And that was all he would say. That was it. And I dropped him off at his mother's house, and I didn't see him again, ever again, actually. I did tell one person Kevin and I had that conversation, because it worried me, because I didn't know if I was safe or not being around Kevin, and Kevin Mailer was the one that I confided in about him telling me that in the car that day.
You hear them mention a girl named Faith. Faith had gone missing about 3 months before Kevin Craig was found dead, and is missing to this day. I've got 2 episodes on my channel covering her disappearance. This whole story does not sound good for Boston. Here's the theory based on this person's narrative and the events surrounding Kevin's death. Faith Roach died of an overdose, and the people with her, Boston being one of them, decided to get rid of her body. He enlists his close friend Kevin Craig to help. Perhaps in the haze of a drug bender or desperate for a fix, Kevin agrees to help with the task. But as the months go by, Kevin starts feeling guilty about what he's done, and he confides to someone that he helped get rid of Faith's body. But he doesn't disclose any names. Later, Kevin's confidant tells Boston the story, unaware that Boston was who Kevin helped dispose of Faith's body. Now, Boston knows Kevin Craig is a huge liability. So Boston comes to Craigville that Friday, searching for Kevin, and bringing Eric to distract Daniel. Kevin is desperate for a fix and going through withdrawals, so Boston's offer to give him some drugs sounded great. Boston then gives Kevin an unknown substance that renders him immobile and unable to leave the room. Kevin dies. Boston returns on Sunday to make sure Kevin is dead. This theory might have a few holes or incomplete thoughts, but it was strong enough for the police to write up murder and kidnapping charges against Boston.
Kevin Wayne Mailer is being charged with murder and kidnapping in the death of Kevin Craig. And we believe the evidence will show that he went back to the home on more than one occasion, checking to make sure that he was deceased. Credible information was established by our investigators that determined Kevin Craig was murdered because of what he knew about the disappearance of one of our missing persons, being Faith Roach.
And even Kevin's brother Daniel says he could see his brother helping to hide Faith's body and then sobering up and feeling bad about it.
When Kevin was down, like, when he was out there, he was out there, he would do this crazy shit. I could see him, somebody pulling up at one of his friends and saying, I need some help.
Yeah.
You know, and that's stupid. It is, getting rid of his body, but I don't know for sure he done it, but I could see him doing it though, but then sobering up and everything, like, oh fuck, feeling bad about it, and like, damn, I can't believe I'm doing that.
Yeah. During my investigation, Boston was in prison for some drug charges, but when I reached out, he actually agreed to speak with me. Boston's point of view of the events that transpired and the interpersonal dynamics at Craigville is quite different.
Now listen, they're basing all the stuff about me killing Kevin, they're basing all that on covering up something that has to do with Faith.
Yeah.
I never even met that girl.
Yeah.
Never even laid eyes on her one time driving by, that was it.
Yeah.
So if I had never met her, what reason would I have to do anything? I wouldn't have any reason to do anything to Kevin anyways.
Yeah.
But that's what they're basing it on.
Yeah.
And nobody will listen to me about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just don't understand how they can put kidnapping and murder charges on me for something, for covering up a crime that never even happened.
Yeah.
There's messages, like I said, between us with him not too long before he died, texting me saying he was going to commit suicide and me talking him out of it.
Oh, wow.
Him telling me that I was his only friend, and that,
Yeah. What do you think were like the last messages or phone calls that you had with him?
Probably them.
Okay. About him kind of wanting to commit suicide and you talking him down?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Boston says Kevin had spoken with him about ending his own life shortly before he was found dead. To be clear though, there's little evidence to corroborate this, as Boston is unable to find his phone from that time, which would contain the text messages confirming this claim. Okay, so what do we make of all this? Is there truth in what Boston says? Or are all these details he has laid out simply attempts at derailing the narrative that says he's guilty? There were absolutely some things that make Boston look incredibly suspicious, but as I stepped back to look at the bigger picture, I found a glaring hole in this theory that Boston killed Kevin. It was dusk when Boston came over on Friday and supposedly killed Kevin.
And what day was this?
This is Friday evening, Friday. About dark time.
Yeah.
The theory is that the substance that Boston gave Kevin did not actually kill him, it just rendered him unable to leave the room, resulting in Kevin dying from heat exposure. But if Boston had given him that at sundown on Friday, it wouldn't have gotten hot enough for Kevin to die of heat exposure until midday on Saturday. And even in heat, it takes some time for a body to start smelling. So if someone did come on Saturday and smell Kevin's rotting body, this wouldn't incriminate Boston, but exonerate him. I don't have a copy of the initial police report since the case was reopened and I can't file a request for documents on an open case. But the Barstool podcast did get the report before the case was reopened as a murder case. I think Kirk is reading from the report when he says, quote, Kevin Craig was found in an advanced state of decomposition with insect activity present. Two caveats here. One, I'm not an expert on body decomposition. And two, this could all be rendered null if Daniel was just misremembering when Boston came over on Friday. and he was actually there much earlier. But all of this definitely made me want to consider other possibilities. Could there be more going on here? Remember the story about Kevin going in with a group to buy drugs? He ran and left Caitlin in the car, then the drugs went missing, and Caitlin and Amanda believed that Kevin had stolen the drugs that they had all paid for. Is that enough motive to be involved in someone's murder? Maybe not, but there are a few interesting things to note here. One, Caitlin was the one who gave the info to Barstool implicating Boston.
I did tell one person Kevin and I had that conversation because it worried me because I didn't know if I was safe or not being around Kevin. And Kevin Mailer was the one that I confided in about him telling me that in the car that day.
And remember, Amanda was the one who found Kevin, which ties into the second thing here. Kevin's cell phone never made it to the police because Amanda had it. Days after Kevin's death, his mother Katie stumbled upon Kevin's cell phone in Amanda's belongings. His phone, a crucial piece of evidence, never made it to the police, as she thought.
She had been staying with us some, and she had a bunch of stuff over there. Well, me and her and Daniel had a little misunderstanding. She left, and the next day, this friend of hers came over there, and I packed his car full of her stuff and take it to her. And I found Kevin's phone. That I was told that the police got it. I found Kevin's phone and her stuff, And I don't know if anybody ever talked to her or not, but she was there all the time at that time.
Do you know why she might have Kevin's phone?
I didn't really know,
Now, Katie knew Amanda really well, and she never suspected her of actually having anything to do with Kevin's death. When she looked through Kevin's phone, she actually found reason to be more suspicious about Boston.
We looked at it for like 3 hours, going through it. As far as Boston or Eric or any of them, it's like their stuff wasn't on there, It's like the ones, those two, they didn't have, and I know he had talked to them. I know he did,
Yeah, I mean, I work like serving food in the kitchen, and people coming by all day long, call me a serial killer and all kinds of crap, and it's stressful. I got a target on my back for that.
Really?
Everybody wants to be the one to get to me. So now I got people thinking of me in a way that I never, ever thought in my mind that I would be thought of.
Yeah.
I don't hurt people. Yeah, I sold drugs, but I had a habit that I needed. I mean, I was living off of $695 a month.
Yeah.
With a drug habit. It's not an excuse. Trust me, it's not an excuse. Because I got myself into it. But
yeah.
Well, see, the kidnapping and murder charges
Yeah.
they have on me.
Yeah.
They haven't served me my warrants. They won't serve me my warrants because they don't have the evidence on me.
You'll hear from them more in the next episode, but I sat down with the investigators on the case. So Kevin Mailer was charged with the murder of Kevin Craig.
He has not officially been charged yet.
Oh, okay.
Simply because he is currently in Department of Corrections for the state.
Yes.
But the warrants have been signed, and the detainer has been placed on him within the South Carolina Department of Corrections. Okay. Probably shortly after the first of the year, we'll get arrangements made to quote unquote officially charge him, because a person is not officially charged until such time as the warrants have been read to them and they've been given the opportunity for a bond hearing.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
So the announcement that was made was that, the warrants have been signed and the detainer has been placed on him.
Gotcha. Essentially, that the process has started.
Correct.
Okay. I was fully expecting to be in the courtroom when Boston was read these warrants and officially charged. While I had my doubts about his guilt, I knew that if the police wrote up these warrants, they likely had a lot more information than I. And whether it be after a plea deal or a trial, the information would come to light eventually. But then I got a message from Boston. The warrants had been dropped. Not only that, he was up for parole the next day. He called me right after his parole hearing.
Thank you for using Global Tel Link.
What's up, bro?
Hey man, how's it going?
Are you busy?
No. Did you have your parole hearing?
Yeah, it's been a rough, since I talked to you yesterday, it's been rough.
Really?
You know, they put me on the news yesterday, saying that they knew I was going up for parole this morning.
Yeah.
But I went up for the parole this morning, and they said that they're going to reschedule it because they couldn't come to a unanimous decision.
Oh, so I mean,
So I came back here. Yeah, well, wasn't to know, but I
Yeah.
came back here and laid down. I'm like, well, even if they say no, I got 6 months left to go.
yeah.
And then a couple hours later, they called me back up and told me that I was granted parole.
No way. Why don't you guys sit right here, and I'll sit right here. Click this video to watch the next episode right now.